In today's episode, we're going to be discussing weight loss versus weight gain from our perception and experiences in response to the fight or flight responses in life.
And welcome back, everyone, to another episode, another conversation, another interesting topic today we're going to be discussing. So welcome back, everyone. Very excited to be here again for another week. And let's dive in.
How we came across this topic, how did we come across this topic actually?
Because you're going through working out ways on how to let go, shift, weight, fat, to be precise.
Really?
Yep. So we've been discussing this for quite a while, and you've been on such a massive journey for the last quite a few years now.
Yeah, pretty much majority of my life, because I've always been a big person. But we'll get into why, because there are reasons why I feel like I became a big person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also want to discuss what happens with our weight when we go through relationship breakups and breakdowns. That's including marriages, even changing jobs as well, and even friendships as well. So if you've got a big connection, let's talk about relationships to begin with, just quickly. With relationships, if they're intimate relationships, that's quite a big stress, cortisol level, emotional, mental, on all levels when you have a relationship or marriage breakdown. So that can either put on weight or you can lose weight. So that's all I got.
Oh, okay. I want to start off with, we're not professionals in dietary requirements. We're not professionals in the health requirements of the physical body, even though Jayson is a healer. We're just giving our perception. I just want to make that very clear, that we're just giving our perception of our own journeys, because I want to touch on the topic of cortisol and my understanding of what everyone believes it to be, and also what I understand of where it comes from as well. From all the research that I've done, cortisol is the stress hormone, comes from the adrenals. However, I have come to understand that yes, even though physically it comes from the adrenals, I also feel like it gets started in the head or in the mind, because
The brain,
really. So there must be, which I should have researched, but I didn't. There must be a signal. Obviously, there's a signal because we get stressed, and that will release the cortisol in the adrenals. Now, that can go down to the fight or flight mode as well, because if you're in the wilderness, you're being chased by a bear, you kind of need the fight-flight response to kick in so you can run away. However, when you're not in the wilderness and you're in the concrete jungle wilderness and you've got papers stacked up high, you've got family drama, you're driving through traffic, you just got stresses coming at you from different angles, the brain can get overloaded, which will send signals probably most likely down to the adrenals, and that is how I feel like stress might actually happen, because it all starts with the brain. I can't get this done. I can't do this. These people don't like me. So to me, it all starts from the brain.
Yeah, we're all living in, you could say, majority of people living in the concrete jungle, or suburbia, or cities. Country life's a little bit different. Yet saying all that, there's so much more, I feel, stresses going on, cortisol levels going on, tiredness, exhaustion going on with a lot of people, if not everyone, on a level. And it's also it's the foods that we're eating as well. And you brought what you thought was a healthy product.
Which one was that?
Was it kimchi?
Oh, yes, that's right. Kimchi is technically a healthy product, but continue.
So Allison brought this beautiful kimchi. What's in it, just roughly?
From memory, it's fermented cabbage.
It's like a fermented...
It's a fermented...
probiotic.
Yeah, cabbage. I'm sure there's other things in there, but I just remember...
Good for you.
Yeah, maybe spring onion or something along those lines.
Yeah, so it's meant to be a probiotic, good for you. food. And then I said, just read what's in there and what was the main thing. Not the main thing, what was one of the ingredients in there?
I was absolutely shocked. I saw high fructose corn syrup in there. I was gobsmacked.
Boom, boom.
Gobsmacked. I still ate it because I don't eat high fructose corn syrup all that much. So I thought, well, it's not really going to do much harm if I just eat this a little bit at a time. But I was gobsmacked that it's in a product because
Well, it's in a health food product, a probiotic product.
Well, but that too. But I think what I was more gobsmacked at is because here in Australia, my interpretation is that we don't actually use high fructose corn syrup all that much.
I think you'd be surprised after that how much of that ingredient is in a lot of foods.
Yeah. So gobsmacked, and yes, also in what is considered a health food.
Yeah. So you got the food that you're thinking is healthy. It's got all this crapperoonie in it. And you've got the stresses of every day. You got paying bills. Everything's going up. Work stresses. If you've got a family, you've got that going on. Plus, it's a multitude of so much stress, cortisol levels playing out in everybody's body. I'm going to say, put myself out there, like every minute, really. Unless you're doing meditation or you're taking some time out. And you have to, because we've been working time a lot. We're pretty flat out. So to take time out just to do that sort of thing, you have to make time for it. And I'm not very good at that, everyone, to be honest. Like, I'm go, go, go. As everybody's been listening and watching, I'm go, go, go.
Yeah.
So you got all that, plus just your normal life. It's a lot. And it's funny how, because you've been fasting.
Which is just started, yes.
That's another thing we can talk about a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to this going on with the weight and putting it on and taking it off. I want to go back to the relationship stuff. So when you break up with somebody or you go through a marriage breakup, my understanding is that you either go to fight or flight mode. And the fight mode would be perhaps you want to fight to stay in the partnership, or you're fighting, it's done, it's dusted, and you're fighting to keep yourself in survival. Because from a healer's point of view, my point of view, what happens is when that happens, and if you're intimate, your energies, not just your physical, but all your energies, your mind chemistry, your heart, your feeling center, which is your stomach region, is plus every other level is connected. And once you pull apart, it's like if everybody can visualize like these little cords and strands going into each other. When that happens, the breakdown happens, that all breaks away. In a way, how can I explain this easier? It's like pulling a tree out of its soil.
I was just going to say, if you rip fabric, you'll have threads. So if you can rip a piece of fabric, you've got the threads that have been broken. So these threads are pretty much what you're talking about.
Yep.
So they were like that. Now they're like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that will put you into a flight or fight scenario. And it takes quite a while, if not a long time, for the healing and mending to happen, because you're so used to being with somebody. And when those fibers, the cords pull apart, it's like this mending, healing has to happen before you come back to being you again. 'Cause it's really amazing how connected you can be to somebody, and if you live with them as well, and you've been together for a very long time, how entwined you are with each other. Like with us, for example, picking up each other's thoughts, feelings, emotions. We don't know if we are through a Martha sometimes. It's like sometimes you're feeling like crap, but it's actually you pick it up on me. And if you're also an empath, that's even more of a stronger connection as well.
Because I was going to ask you, how can you relate that back to the weight of either weight loss or weight gain?
So if you're in a really down, feeling really bad and really emotional stuff like that, a lot of people, I'm going to say females, will eat a lot more because eating, I mean, you can say yay or nay to that, because eating really can fill that void up. Because when we are doing it tough or we're emotional, we will gravitate to junk food, we'll gravitate to food that makes us feel good, and that will put the weight on. And you've gone through that. Is that what you do?
No. So what has happened to me in the past is there is a difference between, which I'm going to bring up in weight loss and weight gain, in different emotional strategies, or not even strategies, different emotional circumstances. In breakups, for me, what has happened is that I don't eat because I am emotionally stressed of the fact I just don't know why, I just don't eat. And so therefore I tend to lose weight. Whereas some women, they might actually eat, or some people might eat more because they're trying to fill that void. Some people don't eat because they just don't have an appetite. That's been my thing. I just don't eat because I don't have an appetite. When it comes to survival, that's different. So survival for me, like we experienced when we didn't work for 10 months, like in normal jobs, and we had to try and find our own finances, that was more a different kind of a stress. Even though it was emotional stress, it was a survival stress, which I gained weight because of it. So it's different. In a breakup, emotional stress, I lose weight. I don't feel like eating. Maybe because I'm trying to heal that part of myself, trying to come back to me again. But when it comes to survival, which is very different to a breakup, I gained weight. I put on weight because the brain is working differently. The brain is working like, I need to know when I'm going to get my next meal because I don't know if I'm going to be able to put money or get money in. Whereas in a breakup for me is like, well, this person's just broken my heart. Now I've got to try and reconnect back to myself again. So that's very two different scenarios. And that's the best way, because it's my experience, that's the best way I can explain. Whereas some people, when they go through a breakup, they may feel like they need to eat a lot because, like you said, they're trying to fill a void. You've gone through breakups. Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, so when I've done breakups, depending on the level of connection and how long I've been with that person for, I might eat a little bit more. If I don't, I won't eat like you. And I will usually throw myself into fitness, into weight training, cardio, just trying to get my power back. It's like I've, not want to say give my power away, but it's like I've got to rebuild myself again. Yeah,
it's connecting to yourself again.
Yeah, and I've known a lot of guys who will, after a breakup with somebody, they will hit the gym. So that's an interesting scenario with guys as well. I've known some guys that will hit the ice cream. Or hit
really?
The food. Yeah, and the junk food and all that sort of stuff. So it's amazing. This topic's so broad and everybody's so different. But with my experience, yeah, usually I will keep really busy, get back into the fitness, trying to get myself back together again per se, dive more into personal development, more into meditation, really look after me. At the end of the day, try to keep really busy. And at the same time, behind the scenes, I'm devastated and I'm a puddle on the floor. I'm just trying to find ways to survive.
Yeah.
So maybe that part of me will fight to, I guess, fight to get back on track. Because it's either fight or you just give up and
be a puddle on the floor.
Yeah, you've either got two ways of doing it, really.
And either way, we're not saying either way is
right or
wrong. Some people might need to be a puddle on the floor just to grieve.
Yeah, because you've got that, you have
to go through the grieving process.
You've got the grieving, and then you've got the anger comes up. Because there's a few levels to it as well. And then you've got after all that, you've got the healing process.
Yeah. What I'm gathering from what we're talking about with weight loss and weight gain, it does come down to emotional stresses. And I think not I think, I feel like emotional stresses can be connected to mental stresses as well. And I was just getting the cue to bring in the book of understanding. We have a book of understanding. Actually, no, we don't really have a book of understanding. It made it sound really mysterious, book of understanding.
Yeah, so I've had this book for a very long time.
So this is Jayson's book. It is The Body is the Barometer of the Soul. So you can be your own doctor too. Yeah, too.
Who's the person that wrote the book?
The author of the book is called Annette Noontil, and I use this book a lot. On the back, she's written, "Changing your thoughts to change your body is the simple way this book shows you. Being in control of your health is easy when you know what thoughts you need to change. If you want to understand about attracting sickness, then this is the book for you." I use this book so much because it gives just a different perspective of what I may not realize is going on in my body.
It's coming from more of an esoteric way of approaching what's going on energetically.
It's more about the energetics of the physical body. Okay, so obesity 115, and is it anywhere else? Just 115. Okay. This book doesn't actually have weight loss or weight gain. It just has the title of obesity. So I'm just going to go to that page. And the reason why I was getting the cue for this book, because when you were talking, I kept getting emotional stresses. And obesity is bottling up emotions of loneliness, yearning, etc. And then generalized fatness is holding in either wisdom, love, fears, or anything else that you're holding on to. So with the relationships, it is all about emotions. It's emotions of yearning, emotions of loneliness, emotions of fears, maybe not getting any love back in return, feeling like you don't have anything to offer.
Not feeling good enough.
It really is, in this perspective of the book, about bottling up your emotions, holding on to them.
Because having a lot of weight on could also represent protection, needing to protect yourself. It's like a suit of armor in a way. So the more you maybe don't feel worthy or not good enough.
And that can come back down to emotions again. I'm going to use me as another example of what you said with using weight gain as a protection. When I was younger, you know the story of my parents. I'm going to put this in and hopefully they're okay with it, but I need to use it as an example. My parents, their relationship wasn't doing so well, so my dad had to go and he had to just go and sort himself out pretty much. And I stayed with my mother. And I was just hitting puberty, and people could say it could just be puberty that was kicking in. However, I wasn't a big child, so I didn't have a lot of weight on me. And then as soon as I hit into, and the interesting thing is that this dilemma experience that happened to me was just as I was heading into high school. And as I was heading into high school, my parents' relationship broke down a little bit, and I felt like I didn't have my protector anymore, and I had to move in with my mum.
Because you're really close with your dad.
I'm really close with my dad. I look like my dad, so I'm really close with my dad. But I felt like I didn't have my protector anymore, the person I could laugh with and joke with. And as a child, I thought, you said to me, it's a possibility that the weight gain was caused from an emotion of maybe abandonment. And also needing to protect myself as well. Like I said, some people might think it's to do with puberty, but I feel like it was more than just puberty.
We've done a lot of discussion on this, and I put it down to, your protector when you had to step into looking after yourself, because that's what you would have felt on a level, Yeah,
it was, even though my mum looked after me, she did all the cooking and stuff like that. I guess
so
on
she
a level,
provided the practical stuff, but your dad provided that more of the
emotional maybe support. So even though my mum did on a level provide the emotional support, the connection with my dad wasn't there because I didn't have the same connection with my mum. So again, it comes back down to the emotions, our emotional field.
Yeah. Because the feeling body or the emotional aspect of us is really sensitive. It just wants to be loved and looked after and feeling safe. And if that person in your life is gone or taken away from you or they've moved on, especially a parent, that's pretty big. You would go, and I'm thinking anyone would go through what you went through on a level. Some people might have lost all the weight, but some put the weight on, just depending on, I think, how the individual works.
Just want to put it out there that my parents are good now.
Yeah, your parents are living the high life. And
my parents are living the high life together.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing really well.
They are.
It's a really good example.
Yeah.
Because that's a trauma from childhood.
Yeah.
And we do carry that through into our adulthood. So a lot of these issues will extend back down to childhood.
And I feel like that is connected to safety as well. So on a level, I didn't feel safe anymore.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in danger, even though I wasn't physically, but maybe on an emotional level, I felt like I was in danger.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff, isn't it?
So with this book that I've just used, I'm really starting to understand, and I do understand it on a level for myself, but it's also trying to understand how to let go of all those things as well, because it is really, I feel like it's really connected to our emotions and our emotion of whether or not we're in danger, whether or not we feel safe.
I was just getting, it's back, using you as an example, I believe there might have been a rewiring of your brain chemistry at that point of time as well. Oh. Yeah.
What do you mean?
That would have been a massive trauma. Yes, it's about the emotion, and yes, it's about the feeling, but the brain chemistry would have gone through a shift as well. And therefore, let's see if I can put this in the right words. Because the brain also, my belief is the brain works on the fight and flight mode. So the brain would have went into either fight or flight mode. Survival.
Yeah.
And it would have done a rewiring. So the trauma with the brain keeps on remembering and looping even down to this day. So the brain chemistry is a really big part of it. Because the brain is such an important part of who we are as well. And we were talking about before we did the podcast how much it does dictate to us what to eat, how to eat, just through either not feeling good, feeling, if you look, for example, if you're happy and doing really well, you won't go for those certain foods.
Yeah.
And if you're really sad and depressed, going through a relationship breakdown or you lost your job or something's going on, you might crave for foods to help you feel better. And in your case, sometimes you won't eat.
Yeah.
So I believe that's also connected to the brain chemistry and how it's formatted as well.
Yeah, that I reckon you're right as well. So it's a connection. Sorry, it's a combination of emotions and feelings, and also the brain chemistry as well. You could almost say that the brain chemistry could trigger the emotions and feelings too,
if not dictate to what you need to eat or what not you need to eat or what you need to do. And you also, is it right that they say there's a brain in the stomach as well?
Yeah, I think there is a brain. You've got the head brain, you've got the stomach brain. I think there's 3 brains. It could be the head, I think it's the head brain, the heart brain, and the stomach brain. And so they all kind of, there's 3 different brains in the body. And it's interesting because the head and the stomach are also interconnected as well on an energetic level, and probably also on a physical level too. That's probably why when people's on an energetic level, if you look at the frequency bodies, the mental body is yellow, which is associated with the, what's the word? Solar
plexus.
The solar plexus chakra, which is also yellow. So so the head and the stomach are very interconnected with each other.
Yeah, that's a lot to contend with.
It is, especially in daily life. Now, what I have discovered, because last week I was going through, I don't know what I was going through. I just felt really, really tired. So tired that I just wanted to sleep all day. Every day, all day, did not want to get up for work. I just wanted to sleep, and I'm not entirely too sure what was going on. But I did look up something to do, I can't remember what the subject was that I looked up. I think something came onto my YouTube feed and I watched it. And this guy, he's a doctor, he was talking about how everyone accumulates stress in their body.
Oh, that's right. That was a good one, actually.
Yeah, it was. And I put these, what he suggested into practice, and it does work. What happens with everyone is that you have stress, you're being chased by a bear or a lion or a predator, and you have your flight and fight mode come in. You either fight or you run. That's one stress. The other stress, like we've spoken about, is just daily life. It could be paperwork, driving in traffic, relationship breakup. Could be as small as waking up in the middle of the night, because that also leads to cortisol level, which adds fat onto the stomach. So every time you wake up, you're releasing cortisol. And it's just small little stresses, bills, rent, things along those lines, till it gets to a point where the body probably doesn't know how to handle and process it. The best way he suggested is, if you feel like you can't get out of bed, then you celebrate the small wins. It's like, okay, I'm just going to sit up, and have that intention of just sitting up. So you sit up and then you celebrate it. You don't go, okay, I've sat up, now let's go on with the day. You sit up and you celebrate. You go, I feel good sitting up. I'm so happy that I've sat up.
It's like doing one step forward at a time.
Yeah. And because we've spoken about this just amongst ourselves, how the brain needs rewards.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, discussing it with stress, weight loss, weight gain, and the brain, that the brain doesn't feel like it's being rewarded. The brain feels like it's in danger. So if you can actually break through that danger routine by going, okay, I'm just going to sit up, and you sit up and you're like, I feel absolutely amazing that I've sat up. So what happens is, because you feel happy that you sat up, the brain starts to think, oh, okay, I feel happy. I've got the happiness chemical coming through. Maybe I'm not in danger. Maybe sitting up is a happy thing, is a good thing. And then you sit through that, and then you go to the next thing, which could be getting out of bed. So you take it one step at a time. I did this one day. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get out of bed. It's like, yeah, I feel awesome. I'm so happy I got out of bed. Okay, I've got to put the clothes on. I feel amazing that I've just put my clothes on. Okay, sort out my bag, and just did the small steps. It was amazing how quickly my brain started to shift out of feeling like it was in danger.
Feeling like I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, feeling like, you know what, I'm just going to let life pass me by.
Yeah, it's too hard basket. I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to sit here. What's the point? Bugger it.
How is this connected to weight loss and weight gain? Because I feel like it actually lowers down the stress levels, which lowers down the cortisol levels. So instead of being stressed because stress feels like you're in danger, you're actually reversing the danger stress feeling by celebrating what you're doing. So therefore you're kicking in the happiness, you're kicking in the joy, and that calms everything down and makes you feel safe. So therefore you're not stressed out and you're not gaining or losing weight. I know it sounds strange and may not work for everyone, but just give it a try. If you feel like you're stressed and you can't get out of bed, just try the small things and celebrate the small things.
As you're talking about that, there's quite a few products coming onto the market where it's like, I think there's a watch or a band or a ring, other products out there that will now help support you and let you know if you're too stressed. And then help you or support you to bring that stress level down at that moment.
I wonder what it does to help you support you.
Oh, there's one product that buzzes when you're too stressed, and there might be a little ding or bell, or something might go, an app on the phone might
Or maybe
go
I
off.
might do like a breathing exercise. Now let's just breathe and calm the...
Yeah, well, my old Apple Watch, which I'm been trying to, I think it's a Apple Watch 2, 1 or 2, and what it would do, it would highlight and tell me to breathe.
I think mine does the same thing.
So it was like, take a moment out to breathe. Because I don't think we do a lot of good breathing.
No, I don't think we do.
I think we're all swimming underwater and taking a deep breath in for the day, and then that's it, and you get home and then you go... I know that I do that.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
It's like, okay, now I can breathe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's not good.
No, because you said before, when you've gotten to work, you take a deep breath in and you prepare for the day.
Yeah.
And then, and a lot of people probably do that, which they don't even realize until they hear this. They're probably thinking, wow, I do the same thing. I take a deep breath in, I prepare for my day, and then I only take a deep breath out, not
at the end of the day.
At the end of the day when I get home, when that's not healthy at all.
No.
So a lot of weight gain for me has to do with feeling like I'm in danger.
I keep on getting in my mind Alice Springs with you.
That was a huge danger zone for me.
Yeah, for the last 10 minutes, I'm just getting... Going to talk about Alice Springs. Going to talk about... So, Allison was a tour guide for Alice Springs for 7-8 months. And you went there at a reasonable weight?
Yeah, I went there a reasonable weight for me, which was 75 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. I'll probably put it on the screen. But for me, it was... I mean, I tried to lose weight before and I got down to 70. But then I went up to 75 because I was eating carbs, and I maintained that for a really long time.
Yeah, but the problem was that you didn't eat a lot until you came back from your tour, like it was like 2 or 3 days, because you said that you were so busy and cooking for everyone and driving for 5 hours, walking for how many hours, being the tour guide, looking after 30, 40, 20 people, and it's like your body didn't get a chance to eat. So, because when you came back to Melbourne, it's like, geez, you put on a lot of weight, and you showed me a photo. It's like, you should be like 55 kilos because you didn't eat. You walked so much, and there's so much that went on with not eating and not really sleeping and resting. So you personally put weight on.
So then that comes back down to... I'm getting the question, does fasting actually work? For some people, yes. For some people, no. For me, I'm not entirely too sure because I've only just started my fasting journey. Again. While I was in Alice Springs, you could say that I was actually fasting, but I was fasting on a level that was also... I had a lot of stress going on. Not sleeping very well, not sleeping a lot, walking for 5 hours a day, driving for 5 hours a day, looking after 24 people by myself. That puts a lot of stress on the body. So then in that situation, I can't say that it was the fact of not eating. I feel like it was the combination of everything, all the stresses combined, along with the fact of not eating as well. Although I do remember coming back for our birthday in October, and I think I did lose a bit of weight. But then when I went back to go work again, I decided to eat, but I was like having one sandwich in the day and then a small bowl of food if I could manage it as well. And then coming back and gaining weight, is that connected to the fact that if you're going to fast, that you still need to be, or you still need to feel like you are safe to do so? Because I know fasting also puts a stress on the body. and also understand that there are a lot of benefits to fasting as well. But there's so much craziness. Like this morning, I was looking up all kinds of things about fasting, and then all kinds of things about, the opposite and negative, the positive and negative effects of fasting, how it is good for you, and then how some people say it's not good for you because it puts stress on the body, and then more stress and stress and stress. And then other people are saying, the cells chuck out all the old cells, regrow new cells, human growth hormone. There's so much information that contradict each other that I guess you're not going to know what is good for you.
Everybody's different. And what suits you is not going to suit somebody else. So it's like, again, going back to knowing thyself.
Yeah.
The more you know yourself, when it comes to that, then you will know what works for you.
Yeah. And I went through days where I felt like I wanted to fast, like just recently. And then last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I decided I was going to fast. But I don't fast like, don't eat at all. I fast from the time I finish dinner one day. I go do my whole work hours, and I come home and I might not eat until about 2:33. So I'm still eating. It's just that I've reduced my eating window from all day, and this is a thing about the brain chemistry again. Eating from all day to just eating maybe 4 to 6 hours. That's all you're doing. It's not like you're not eating at all. But then as soon as you put a practice of fasting into place, the brain switches on and goes into fight or flight mode, into fear, into danger, and for some reason feels like it's never ever going to eat again, which is what I went through this morning.
Yeah, and also with that, you can put weight on, or the body will store as much fat it can, or calories it can, because it doesn't know when it's going to get fed next.
Exactly.
So therefore it's scared for letting go any of the weight, because it's like, oh, I'm not getting fed for another week. So I'm going to keep all this food or this fuel, this fat, just in case I'm not going to get fed. So I can still keep on feeding.
But then there's also benefits to fasting as well. So then it does come down, and I've tried it all. I have no idea. I actually still don't understand what is best for me, because I do want to be healthier. I do want to, drop kilos as well. And I don't know which one's the best option to do. At the moment, I'm doing fasting. But then is it that I need to eat 8 times a day in order for my brain to feel safe?
Yeah.
And then when I do eat, I want to go back to when I'm working. When I do eat when I'm working, it could just be a packet of dim sims.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. 1 in the morning, so 2 dim sims in the morning, 2 dim sims in the afternoon, and then I come home and, so I'll probably eat less when I'm not fasting as opposed to when I'm fasting. So when I come home now in the fasted, I'll have like a bowl of lettuce cups, and I'll have 2 things of yogurt, So I eat more, probably the correct amount of calories that I do need to eat after I've been fasted, as opposed to not fasting and just nibbling throughout the whole day.
So you're starting to understand a different level of you when it comes to eating.
So I don't eat as much when I can eat, and I probably eat the adequate amount when I don't eat, which is very confusing for the brain.
Oh, because I believe it's a possibility that the brain's dictating to what it wants and what it needs.
We just touched on that before, where the brain can be, I wrote it down, the brain can be your biggest ally, or it can be your biggest hindrance.
Saboteur.
Yeah. Like you said, if you're feeling depressed, the brain's like, well, I want that piece of chocolate. You don't really need the piece of chocolate or the chocolate cake or the 5 donuts or the 12 donuts or the whole tray of cookies. But the brain's like, I need that right now.
So I feel safe.
So I feel safe. And that comes back to ego as well. Because we have spoken about personal development, and you're a personal development teacher. And everyone speaks about death of the ego. Could that also be related to what we're talking about now? The brain is needing to feel safe. The ego is needing to feel safe as well.
Yeah.
So with the weight loss, you could be right. The brain dictates how people eat. And if the brain is safe, or all parts of self are safe, then the brain is going to go, okay, cool. I'm happy to go down this path of health journey. But if there's a part of self that doesn't feel safe, then maybe the brain is going to go, no, I want that whole tray of cookies.
Yeah. It's like all aspects of you need to come together in alignment to make the decision. It's like I'm getting shown a board room full of people, and there are some on board with the project and some are not.
Yeah.
So there's this discussion on, well, if we can't come together, we can't perform the task at hand. And maybe that's what's happening within you. Not all of you's on board, and so therefore it's just running rampant.
Yeah, because I can give quite a few examples of that. A few years back, how old was I? Probably 34, 35 or something like that. Before we met, I went through all of a sudden I had candida. In that way, my brain or all parts of self are going, well, you know what? I don't want that anymore. What do we need to do to flush this out? So all parts of myself are like, yeah, cool. This is what we need to do to flush out this. And that meant cutting out carbs and sugars. So it's like, yeah, cool. We're going to cut out carbs and sugars because we do not want to have this overgrowth in the body anymore. So that was simple. That was easy. I lost weight because it wasn't about losing weight. It was about cleaning up my body. Then focusing on losing weight, doing keto, I remember again, I got to a level where I felt like I was very uncomfortable, and all parts of self, and that can be my teenager, because my teenager is the one that was the big child. All parts of self are on board. It's like, yep, cool, we're going to do keto. We're cutting out carbs again because we know it works. And it did work. Coming to this time around, I tried to do keto and my brain is like, you know what? I don't want to cut out carbs anymore. I'm done cutting out carbs, because how many years did I do that? And I think it was 2 years I cut out carbs. And poor Jayson couldn't even have takeout because he felt so bad for me.
Yeah, because I felt like I wasn't supporting you on your journey. If I was there scoffing down KFC or Hungry Jack's.
I'm getting hungry now.
McDonald's or pizza or Red Rooster.
And in a way, you kind of feel like you're not connected to society, because we did a video on AJ Living where we went to a beachy town a few hours from us, and Jayson made fun of me because
right.
There was no keto, there was no keto restaurants around. Every food meal includes carbs of some sort. And you made fun of me because I'm asking the lady who's got, like, ordered a couscous salad or something, and I'm like, is there sugar in this dressing? Is there carbs in this couscous?
And has something to complain about.
Yeah, so we're in Phillip Island. It's a beautiful day here. Heaps of restaurants, cafes, absolutely magnificent. Come down, have a look. The only issue with Allison, with food, when you go out anywhere, is pretty much you can't eat anything. There's no keto restaurants around. Everything's pretty hard.
And
to
no
find
meat
for
either.
Her. She doesn't eat meat. It's very, very challenging unless she takes her little lettuce wraps and her. God forgive me for saying this, rice cakes. Absolutely crazy. But today she's having quinoa.
Quinoa. Yeah, quinoa salad.
Quinoa salad.
Quinoa.
And that was a push because there was a salad dressing on it. And she said, "Is that too sweet? Too much sugar? I don't know the net carbs, and I want to know how much sugar's in the." It's like, we just fucking eat it. So anyway, good start. Love it.
That's what he's got to complain about, my eating.
You really become almost antisocial in the eating part of society, because you like, no, sorry, I can't eat that. I can't have this. I can't have that. And I got to a level where my brain is like, I just don't want to do that anymore. I want to eat what I want to eat, but I also want to eat and lose weight at the same time, because I didn't want to give up our Saturday night dinners because I enjoy it so much. So now my brain's gotten to a stage of where all parts of self are like, I don't want to give up carbs. I don't want to give up the foods that I want to eat. So it's now shifted, but now I'm trying to work out how do I do that and also shift the weight as well, because I've got all this old programming that I need to clear out in my head. And that can come down to other people as well. If you're trying to figure out how this is connected to weight loss, look at all the old programming that you have that is connected to either weight loss, weight gain, or emotions or stress levels. So I've got all this old program that I got to go through, and fasting is probably one of those old programmings that I have to go through as well.
And your job is very stressful as
and
well.
My job is very stressful.
So that's your cortisol for how many hours a day at work? That's all full on cortisol.
Yeah, exactly. The weight loss journey for me is still ongoing, because I know what I want. I want to eat like a normal person. And I also want to lose, or I should say burn fat at the same time while eating like a normal person. And the only answer that I have come up with at the moment is fasting, because I can fast for a certain, and we naturally fast anyway. We can naturally fast for 12 hours. You know, it's when you sleep and you're fasting. But I look at it as a way of, I can still eat what I want to eat. So to me, it's like having the best of both worlds. But my brain sometimes doesn't realize that. My brain this morning, I took some fat burner powder, and I was so excited to try this fat burner powder, because it was to help boost my my personality. What is it? My mood. A mood booster kind of thing. And I was so excited to try it. Then as soon as I had it, my brain switched in, fear switched in, and it just wanted to eat and eat everything. So that's how quickly it shifted. It shifted from being so excited to try the fat burner to I'm in so much fear and danger. Like as soon as I started drinking it.
So there's, on a psychological level, you're going to have to find out what that is, because it keeps on coming up since I've known you, and you use the word danger a lot.
Yeah.
So you need to come to an understanding of what is the danger, because usually danger means life or death.
That's exactly
so
it.
Your brain, it goes instantly into life or death situations.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel that's what stress is for people, because stress on a level can feel like a life or death situation.
Well, it would have to be a very extreme stress.
But maybe sometimes it could have started as an extreme stress, but then built up, like we say, chronic stress builds up. It could be as small as not getting your nails done.
Yeah, I mean, stupid, silly crap.
Yeah, but for that person, in that moment in time, with all the accumulated stress that they've gone through, that one thing could be a life or death situation.
Can I share? I've got a little story.
Yeah.
About the brain, which I learnt about myself. This is going back probably 10 plus years ago. I was doing a lot of weight training, and I wanted to strip off a lot of fat to really lean up. So for 7 days, I just did like a max shred protein shake, and I would have those 3 or 4 times a day. I didn't eat food for 7 days, nothing. And I don't know how I did it. When I look at it now, I was like, wow, how did I do that? And then after a few days went by, I went to Coles just to, I don't know, I had to get some feed from somebody else. And I could smell the sugars in the air, even down to the carbohydrates in the air. And my body at the time was actually enjoying not eating. It's like my body was repairing and doing what it needed to do. It was doing a release of all the toxins and everything because I was just having protein shakes. But I could not believe because I just went, oh shit.
The sensitivity.
My brain was going off tap.
Yeah.
It wasn't my body. My body was like, nah, we're good. But my brain, it was like going down to, it's just going to sound silly, but going down the milk aisle, I was like, oh, I've got to have that. Going down another aisle. It was just the brain. It was not the body.
Yes. And that's exactly it. The past week, I think it got to Wednesday. So I've been fasting Monday, Tuesday, and I got to Wednesday. And I said to you, I felt like I was addicted to food. And I thought, because all of a sudden my brain just was screaming at me. It's like food, 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 food. And I thought to myself, this must be what it feels like to come off an addiction. It literally felt like I was coming off an addiction, and I have never experienced anything like that before. So food on a level is an addiction, but it was like what you said. My body was fine. My body's like, I'm cool. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying not eating because
it's saving energy for starters.
But it's also like I could feel the ease or the flow of everything. It was like I had energy, but my brain felt like it was suffocating.
It's like a monster.
Yeah. So how is this connected to weight loss and weight gain? The brain has a lot to do with it. The stress levels of the brain have a lot to do with it. And you could be right. The brain, we've got to override the brain. Override the fear, override the danger, override anything that we feel like is going to be harmful. And the only way I feel like we can override it is through a practice and understanding.
You know when I talk to you about being the captain of your ship?
Yes.
I don't think we are. I think the brain is.
But is that when, like, we have to start understanding or put it into practice that we are the captain of our ship? Because the brain needs to know that it is safe. It is going to live on. It is going to survive. And the only way you can do that is through experience.
Yeah. I think one of the keys to disciplining the mind or the brain is fasting.
Oh, really?
So what I'm hearing from you now is, because we're now identifying that and I was hoping this was going to come up for some solutions with weight loss, the brain chemistry and the body chemistry and stuff like that, and all the hormonal processes that happen with the body and the mind. You're now identifying what the mind is actually, or the brain is actually doing and capable of, and how much of a saboteur it is, and how much fear it's always in for you. It's continuously in danger. So therefore, it's like, I'm going to die if I don't have this cheesecake. It's like it's so amplified up. It's like a little 5-year-old chucking a tanty if it doesn't get a piece of cake, or if it doesn't get carbohydrates, or it doesn't get this and doesn't get that. So now you have the understanding of that. You can now discipline it and say, well, see, we didn't have that piece of cake. We are not in danger. We are safe, and we are okay. And maybe that's the journey that you can step into. The more you fast, the more you can say to the brain or that part of yourself, see, we are okay.
I have actually started doing that.
And I'm just getting this now.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
I have actually started, now that I have started doing that.
So you're just starting to learn to identify what really is in charge of you. It's not bloody you. It's your brain in charge of you.
And we're not saying we needed to, I feel like we need to tell the difference between us and the brain.
Okay, fill me in.
You know what I mean? It's like, because people might be like, but the brain is you. but it's different in a way. It's like, yes, there's you and you are making the choices, but on another level, there's a part of the brain that is just like, it's like kicking and screaming.
Well, don't forget, my perception is our body is an avatar or a vehicle to experience this reality.
Yeah.
It's not really the essence of us.
No.
The essence of us is consciousness.
Yeah.
Is an energy format. Come into this physical avatar to have the experience.
Yes.
So that's the basic foundation of who we really are.
Yes.
So we're now tapping into the machinery of who we are, which is the avatar, the human body, and learning how to run the operating system in more of an efficient state of being, and also not a fear-based state of being as well.
So what I'm hearing from you and my version of that is, because we are energy based, our soul, our essence is energy. This is the physical avatar of this game and experience. And so therefore we have all the hormones and chemicals in this physical avatar, which includes the brain.
Yep.
However, the essence of us, the energetic essence of us, may not contain those chemical influences. Because if you think about it, people have survived without food for, I think there was one guy that survived without food for over 400 days.
Yep. Yeah, and I've done research on people have done fasting for 40 days.
So in essence, our essence is what really can support us. But the brain is that machine that we're needing to untangle.
Yep, which accumulates over when you're born.
Yeah.
With your upbringing and everything else that's involved with that.
Yeah. So you're right. Going through this fasting phase, and this has only been a week. It's only been a week. And already my brain is telling me I want food now.
I'm getting that we should do another podcast on fasting and your experience on how you've been going with the body, with the brain, how you're feeling. I think that might be a good lead up for another podcast with that. Because I feel like people are tapping into doing fasting and keto, and you have a lot of information and experience with that, with your own personal experience.
Yeah.
So I feel like that also might be helpful.
Yeah, we can do that. I also feel like we need to bring it back to the topic of weight loss and weight gain, and to give some solutions to people on how they can lower stress as well. Yeah, because we've been talking a lot about stress and a lot about the brain and how the brain is connected to stress. I feel like we need to give people some form of solutions of what they can do to lower stress. So like you said, one way is meditation.
Yep.
Yeah. Another way is eating carbs. I'm just going to put it out there, because I've learned that when you eat carbs, it releases dopamine into the brain.
And you worked out that you need to have carbs before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Because you won't sleep.
Yeah. So this is another thing that I realized with fasting. If I fast, and I still eat, like I have like a 4-hour or 6-hour eating window, and I have my breakfast, lunch and dinner pretty much in that time frame. It's easy to do. But if I don't have, I think I had a few nights where I didn't have carbs or something along those lines, my brain just wouldn't shut off. I woke up nearly every hour to 2 hours, and also I needed to pee quite a lot. And then one night I decided to have a salad which included rice and chicken and all kinds of things in it, and I slept like a baby. And then the next night I think I had more carbs, slept like a baby again. And last night, slept like a baby. So I have noticed when you don't eat carbs, it doesn't release the dopamine level, so therefore you don't feel sedated. Because I feel like when you eat carbs, you feel sedated.
Yeah, if I'm got a lot going on, sometimes I won't really eat. If I do eat, it's very small because I can feel that crash.
Yeah. So, yes, as a solution, eat carbs. Now, you have to take into consideration your own level of what you feel like is the right amount of carbs for you. Again, if you're going through an emotional stress of either a breakup, people might just binge eat on ice cream and cake, because it is that dopamine hit. So meditation, eating something good, something nice.
Hanging out with friends.
Breathing, going for a walk.
If you have a beautiful support group.
Yeah.
Or, friends and family. Yeah, be in that energy.
Write in a journal as well.
Yep.
Because I wrote in a journal. That's how I discovered my brain was just kicking and screaming at me this morning. I was writing in my journal about fear and death and all kinds of things that my brain thinks it's going through.
Yeah, I feel like you need to really look at this word danger, because that's a pretty big thing to play out all the time.
Yeah, I'll look at that.
And
outside.
I'd like to discuss it.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
Yeah, we'll do it on another podcast.
Okay, so let me just do a little tuning with my soul group and see whether they got something quick to say.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, thank you for having us back. A very interesting conversation, a conversation that needs to be had, especially if Allison tapping into her physical body, her avatar, and her mind, brain, chemistry, energy. For all your listeners and people who are watching, please work through and understand what works and what doesn't work for you. We are very impressed again for this informational topic to send a positive message of understanding the self once again. Because once you have a different level of understanding the self, you can then propel forward into or onto the present moment of being the authentic you. Jayson was hoping that there would be some golden keys coming out of this conversation today, and yes, you have done so, and there was many more conversations to have with this, and we feel that the people, your audience that listen and watch this, will benefit greatly, because you are both coming from personal experiences, understandings and perceptions, which you all need. Is there any questions at this time, Allison, that you'd like to ask us?
There were a few questions. I have a question. I'm not sure if it's something that we've already answered. The connection between the brain and stress. Can they give a perception on their understanding of how the stress level works? Does that make sense?
So your stress levels will be part of your upbringing as a child, society around you when you were growing into from the child to the adult, your parents. You're also taking on your parental programming from your parents that will go into you, which you also receive from them. And this will set up a foundation for when you step more into your teenage years and then your adult years. It all depends on the traumas, the trials and tribulations that you move through that will either support you being in balance with your body and your mind and your heart or not. Has this helped on a level? Have we answered your question, Allison?
Yeah, it does help on a level. And I'm also getting to ask, how is that in relation? Because I have listened to a lot of people talk about fasting, weight loss, and how it relates to ancestors. And when people talk about ancestors, they talk about cavemen. But for me, ancestors are like way past cavemen. So is the fasting, because we've spoken about this before, every time someone talks about fasting, they revert back to cave people, ancestors. But we've evolved so much since then. Does that still trigger or still connect to us into this day and age. And yeah, okay. And is that connected to, I guess I'm also wanting to understand how,
So there is diets out there which are just eating veggies, fruit, or just simply proteins. They're up to the individual that works for you, what works for you. And you can take back to your ancestors where if you were just living off the land and picking berries and eating fruit, that would be part of your cellular structure, the cellular memory, you could say, within you. Everybody is different and everybody has different tribes back in the past. It's a matter of finding out what does work for you and what does not work for you. It is not a black and white scenario. It is many shades of greys and colour in between. Your lifestyle now, you could say, is a lot more hectic, a lot more complicated than what it was even, say, 200-300 years ago. You expect and have at your disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, any food that you desire, if you have money or currency to you all the time. If you do not, this is a different scenario. But a lot of you who are listening to this and watching this will and can have as much food or little food as you're choosing. The brain, your mind, loves this, and you could say will eat until it cannot eat anymore and then eat more. It's up to you, the individual, to discipline your brain, your mind, and as Jayson said before, actually be the captain of your boat, your ship, and not allow the brain to do so. Because if you allow the brain, and especially the part of the ego, it will take over and dictate to you how you feel, what you eat, whom you are to be, and it will go down to, most of the time, the basic foundation is fight or flight. So it's up to you all to really take charge of what you would like to do to move forward and start to be the real captain of your ships, and a higher level of consciousness and discipline will help with this. Do we make any sense, Allison?
Yes. Can I ask another question?
Indeed.
Is there a difference, because I didn't quite understand this before, is there a difference between the brain and the ego?
So the ego, from our perspective, is part of the brain. The brain, the ego, in a way, the one and the same. Your consciousness, who you really are, is separate from that on so many levels. And that's when we talk about higher consciousness and high understanding, you can start to see yourself as the observer when it comes down to the mind and the ego. For basic simplicity, we'll say that the ego and the mind are one, working together. The same expression on many levels. Some people out there will have a different perception, but at this time frame, with this discussion, to make it simple, we are saying that the ego and the mind are one and the same. Does this make sense?
I think so, because now I've got because Jayson and I discussed about the captain of the ship, and say I'm me here, know that, or I'm fasting because I'm like, I want to experience the fasting protocol now, and yet my brain, which is still me, is contradicting that understanding. And so it's like I'm trying to understand the difference between me wanting to go through the fasting protocol and then me, the brain, contradicting, and what the difference is between the two. Does that make sense? It's almost like it's one being, one person, but two separate components.
Because you are separate components. You have your essence, your source, infinite source self, your light being, or consciousness, whatever words you would like to put into that. It's very different than your physical avatar experiencing this reality. And now, Allison, you will start to get some keys to understand that you may need to look at yourself as observing as yourself as the high consciousness with your avatar, your mind, to start to make changes. Because at this time, for many of you, your avatar, your mind, in this physical reality, is in charge of your game. So it's now up to you as the high consciousness you, because that is who you are, to start to step back in on another level and take charge of your body, your mind, your avatar. Because remember, everyone, this is just your vessel to experience this reality, and this reality would like to, no, let's rephrase that, needs you to be 100% hooked into this physical arena to keep looping you over and over and over again, so you can't move on. So you get stuck in the mud, so to speak, looping and looping over and over until you can step to a higher level of self, your consciousness, to say, now it's time for me to take charge. Now it's time for me to change to a different direction. Now it's time for me to let go of the traumas, because that's not who I am really. That's just the experiences that I've had to allow me to understand and to experience those experiences. And it's up to you all to separate yourselves from that so you can move forward. Yes?
Thank you. And one final question, it's kind of two in one. Any advice on what people can do to lower their stress levels, or anything that Jayson and I haven't discussed or added in the point form? And any last positive words of stepping forward?
We are trying to contain our laughter here.
Why?
Because maybe you should just all find your own little island somewhere in the Pacific Ocean and just stay there for the rest of your lives, and just be one person on your island and not experience any experiences or any stresses that actually makes you who you are, because that's what you're here to do. So what we are trying to say simply is, you are in this complex game, this complex reality, with so many things happening every second, every moment of your existence. And it's up to you all to navigate through this and to be the adult you and manage your own stresses and find out your own way that brings you peace, joy, harmony, that brings down what you call your cortisol, fear, stress, danger levels. That works for you. And what was the next question, please? We have forgotten.
Do you need some food? Do you need some carbs?
Our food is love.
My last question is, any positive words of encouragement for people stepping forward?
Be kind to yourselves, everyone. Be kind. Give yourselves a pat on the back for moving forward on your journeys and creating what you would like to create. Our biggest message here is to love yourselves, to be kind to yourselves. On a deep level, you all know what you need to do. You have trials and tribulations and trauma playing out within you that keeps on surfacing its ugly head for you to look at and to let go of, and know that you are not that. Know that you are so much more indeed. And we understand that there's so much going on around the planet and your reality at this time to keep you in fear, in danger. But if it's not happening at your front door, then you can let that go and know that you are safe. The moment you feel like you're in danger all the time, be mindful how long you are in that danger mode, because you could simply attract that to your reality. So your jobs are to create as much as you can peace, love and harmony, and know that you are safe. And that's when your stress levels, your brain, your mind, your ego will start to release and let go and step out of the danger zone, so to speak. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
As I was talking, I was just getting for people who feel like they're in the danger zone, and let's say mortgage, things along those lines, or rent, or not enough food or something, perhaps to take also practical steps on trying to figure out how they can,
as we call it, navigating.
work their way out of it too. So that they can, so then their brain can go, okay, I am safe.
Yeah, this has opened up a bit of a Pandora's box for me. I wasn't expecting quite that.
Weight loss and weight gain, in my perception, is all connected to the feeling safe or feeling in danger, and which is all connected to the brain.
It's looking that way.
That's my perception. Other people might have a different perception, but that's my perception.
Yeah, because we're really stepping into the physicality of our bodies, and that's a good start. Because a lot of people will work from that.
Anything else you want to add?
I'm just gonna tuning again and we'd just simply like to say thank you for having us again. It's a broad topic, and it's a good idea to continue talking about this conversation with fasting, the body and the mind and the brain. And thank you for having us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can do another podcast on this. I feel like maybe should we do, like, give myself some time to get more information on myself about, like, using myself as the guinea pig for the fasting and everything. And then we'll come back and revisit the topic again.
I think so, yeah. Give it another couple of weeks and see how you go, and maybe write down some of the experiences. And
yeah, because I really want to give this a crack, because I know, see, this is the difference. I know that I'm still eating.
Yeah.
And I know I'm still eating normally. It's just that I'm not eating 24 hours a day, which my brain thinks it needs to do now. So I want to continue this on and see if I can because you can retrain your brain. So yeah, we'll revisit this again.
Yeah, very interesting.
And maybe I should weigh myself now and then weigh myself, let's say, in a month's time or 2 weeks or something along those lines, and just see what has happened. Because I do feel like there are major benefits of fasting. I don't know how we got onto the topic of fasting, probably because I'm talking about it, but our original topic is weight loss, weight gain through survival and things along those lines, which is all fight and flight, which is all connected to trauma. But I do feel like that fasting is connected to it as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So it'd be very interesting to see how I go. Yeah. And if you do feel like you're in some sort of situation where you don't feel safe, try the steps that I said before about just celebrating the small wins that you can do throughout your day, and switching over from feeling like you're in danger or fight and flight into the happiness hormone. And you'd be amazed at how it can work.
I mean, maybe we'll learn some tips along the way to help support more people too. You ready to say goodbye?
Yes, I am.
Well, thank you for listening, watching, tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Love and
Bye.
blessings.